Hey everybody, welcome back to Cooking During COVID. I am going to turn this segment into an encouragement session. So some of you have been saying, I've been gaining 19 pounds. Some people say they gained 19 inches. Don't worry about it. Chin up. No, the other one. I know it was bad, but I promise I'm gonna make it better. We are making today desserts with a purpose. Ooh. From this cookbook, What's on Your Plate. We've got a couple, I guess, protein-packed, healthy fat-packed, wonderful desserts. I'm gonna give you my top three. First of all, the chocolate eclair. This is our Christmas and Easter time showstopper, and it makes people come over, you serve it, they're like, where did you get these? And you can be like, I made them. So the second thing we're gonna make is a traditional chocolate cake with a couple of ingredients that might just blow your mind. And last but not least, a dessert for when it's crunch time. And you have somebody coming over for dinner and you're like, shoot, I didn't make dessert. We've got you covered. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce a very good friend of mine, Miss Tara. Come on in, Tara. Tara Hutton, the Hutton family. I'm so excited that you're here. And the Hutton family's been friends of ours for a very long time. Second of all, I'm going to bring in a veteran, Meredith. She's wearing the lemon apron.
I get the lemon apron today.
And then last but not least, I'm bringing in the big guns, because if you know anything about me, I cannot bake. So, Isabella Keys. All right, Isabella is actually going to lead us. Thank you for being here, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Isabella's going to lead us through the chocolate eclair. This is a traditional choux pastry, which a lot of people think is crazy hard to make. Let me walk you through a few things first before I turn it over to Isabella. I asked you guys to get arrowroot powder. And this is gluten-free. I did get a couple of you guys asking about a gluten-free eclair. This is the only way we make eclairs. Now, it's not the way my grandmother made eclairs, and they were fabulous. However, when I switched over, my own dad, hi Dad, I know you're there. My own dad was like, these are better, these are good. It really just puffs them up, that choux pastry. There's a few things Tara said. What did you say about this recipe? You've been avoiding it.
I love all those recipes in that book that I've made so far.
Yes.
But this one scared me because it's like 4 columns.
Let me look at it. It is 4 columns. However, this is what it says. Let me read with the beginning. The chocolate eclair. It says, the chocolate eclair, this is our holiday showstopper. Christmas and Easter are not the same without them. Using arrowroot flour was a game changer. Do not let the length of this recipe deter you.
Maybe she didn't read that. I didn't get that far.
Give them a shot, give me a shot, and then let me know. I want to hear if you've made these. So now after today, you can let me know. Honestly, I probably would have never tried them myself. My grandmother walked me through them. So if you don't have arrowroot powder, you can go ahead and use your enriched white flour. It's far more inflammatory, but it's not a bad thing. It's a dessert. You're not going to eat a whole bunch.
I mean, when you say inflammatory, you make it sound like a bad thing. But keep going.
I know. Just trying to make a few changes, one step at a time. So Isabella, I'm going to turn this over to you, and we are going to learn from the best. You can call out ingredients if you like.
Ooh, I'm going to be your sous chef.
Here we go. So come on over here, and I think they're probably going to get a couple shots of her.
To begin making the eclairs, you fill up, we just have this little heart-shaped stall pot. This is the one I love to make it in.
I'll get a cup of water for you, sweetheart.
Can you make it without a heart shape?
You can, but it's not as fun. I'm kidding, it's totally fine. Yeah, so you put a full stick of butter.
1 stick of butter. Unsalted butter.
Yes,
Yeah.
unsalted. Because you do add salt.
Or a fourth of
So
a
if you
pound.
do have salted butter, just don't add in the extra salt. It's no big deal.
That's correct.
Look at you talking like your mom. So cute.
And then 1 cup of water. And then
Since this is this like a French pastry? I think you should throw in some French words.
I don't know French.
We should have practiced that maybe. I don't know any French.
I need Audrey to come in
Oui,
and help me out
oui,
here.
je m'appelle.
Okay, and then you're gonna hate me for this. A pinch of salt.
I don't
Oh,
know. A
see?
pinch. I mean, we've been through this. Have you not been watching the other shows?
Yes.
A pinch.
What exactly is a pinch?
Okay,
I
I'll tell you
have
what,
no idea.
I'm going to show something. I have these really cute little measuring.
Oh my gosh.
Carter, I'm going to get you these. Get these. I have these cute little things, and look what they say: a smidgen, a dash, and a pinch.
That is
I really do have those.
That is ridiculous.
So I guess a pinch would actually be this much. Okay.
Aww.
Here we go. Okay.
Okay, or if you're following along in the cookbook, it would be a half a teaspoon.
Okay. Now I have to suspend.
Right.
Thank you.
And then you just turn this on to about, you can go high,
times have you made these? I'm gonna be.
A lot of times here, excuse me, sorry.
Yeah.
And then you're just gonna leave it, let the butter melt, the water come to a rolling boil. It's really hard to say.
Rolling boil.
Rolling boil. And then we're going to measure. I'll measure this for you.
Yes.
I can be your
Okay, so
assistant.
I've never bought arrowroot flour.
Okay.
Is this something I can buy at my local grocery store?
Yes, the only brand name that I know of that actually, I'm sure there are more, but we use Bob's Red Mill.
Okay.
And I think the secret to why they're so good that way is it's all, and it's called powder. Sometimes it's called arrowroot powder.
I mean, it looks like sugar powder.
It does.
Or-
It's very, very fine. Very fine. So in pastry chefs, they will sift flour. They use 00 or 000 flours, and that just means they're just really ground refined, I guess, is more of a.
So if I were at home using all-purpose flour, would I use the same measurement?
Absolutely. This is a cup, and it
You're
took me.
measuring it right. I just learned that trick.
I
know.
Right?
You know that
Well,
trick?
well,
That's how you're supposed to measure flour. Is you're supposed to spoon it into the measuring.
Is that
cup.
right?
And yeah.
Look at me.
I've never done that. That's
Let me
fun.
teach you, Michelle,
Well,
something.
because
Well-
otherwise, I know this, it packs it.
Yes, and you don't want it. You want it. Is that good for you? Is that
Yes.
okay?
And so I'm just gonna leave this over here.
So they can see.
Oh, and also I forgot to say this earlier, but if you're going to double the recipe, don't do it all at one time. You kind of have to make the batches separately, or else it doesn't really turn out. So.
I agree. That is a true fact. So my grandmother taught me how to. Well, I used to watch her make these. She was just she whipped cream by hand. So she didn't.
Are y'all not?
No, we're not doing
No. And then my grandmother's sister was my Auntie Carm. My Auntie Carm's daughter was Marianne. Marianne is actually the one who walked me through it, talking to me. I just observed my Italian grandmother, but Marianne walked me through this, and she was the one that told me that. She was like, whatever you do, don't do you can't do this in a big batch. They're just finicky like that.
That's so
So,
fascinating.
and you know it's disappointing if you don't mention that and you do it, you got to start all over, which
Right.
I've done a million
Okay, I
times.
have a question.
Yeah.
In a family like mine,
Okay.
that's large.
Yes.
Bordering on extra large.
Yes.
How many does this make? Because what I would want to be
Oh.
making,
The yield
I
is
want
there.
to
It
immediately
makes
double.
about 18
15 to 18.
Yeah.
15 to 18.
But everybody eats two.
At
So you're-
least, have you seen my boys?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'd probably double.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just what she's probably going to make 2 batches here as well. We've got to get through a lot of things here today, so but she will probably make 2, but you just have to make them separately.
Yeah, you
That's
got a
what we
lot
do.
of people in this room. Of course, you're gonna have to
You
make
can turn
two.
this
Yeah.
over. Okay.
So I might have 2 hearts.
Yes.
We might have 2 heart shapes. So go ahead and Bella, walk them through what you're seeing. That your butter is starting to boil into the water.
Yeah, so
Right.
it's just kind of melting in here. As you can see, there's still some chunks in there, but that's just gonna melt. And then rolling boil is when around the edges, you just start to see bubbles coming up, and they'll come up in the middle too.
I mean, does she
And
not
then-
bring you so much joy?
Yes,
She
no,
knows
she
all
does.
of this.
She
I
did, well,
love
she
it.
is our eclair maker. She is our eclair maker.
How many times have you made these? Or when did you start making them? Do you even remember?
No.
I mean, I've had them from y'all just as gifts. I've never
I wanna-
gotten to witness it go down.
Gosh, I want to say she's been making them since she's at least 8.
Oh my goodness.
She's got a lot of eclairs under that belt.
That's so cute.
Okay, so this is actually starting to get there now. There's still a couple of chunks.
Yeah,
And
and I
what-
love that Carter's gonna show what a rolling boil looks
Yes,
like. Because
yes.
I think that's tricky.
I agree, and then the thing is,
Also
we're going to, because we want this other camera to capture this today, we're going to take it, we'll get it real hot and boiling. The secret is to add the flour while it's rolling boiling, and then as you stir it in, you'll see the consistency, what happens, and you can tell right away if it works out or it doesn't, just by the way that it congeals itself.
So there's a chance that we're about to dump this in the sink.
There is.
Wow.
There is, yep.
Wow.
And if you haven't already preheated your oven, go ahead and do that. 400. We're
A
gonna.
couple extra people just
we're
tuned
in
in. They're like,
Texas.
I want to see them fail.
Yeah. We might just.
No, if Isabella's on it.
Right, that's true. That's
No,
true.
and I'll be
I didn't
honest.
mean it
I like I say, I'm not a
Take
baker.
over.
When I made these for my family, the first batch went in the garbage every time, and
Really?
it takes a little bit of time
Right,
to
a
learn.
little bit of
So
love.
this is the rolling boil here now.
Turn this up. How far you
I know. I heard something go beep beep beep.
Oh, the oven. Our oven
Once
is
it gets there, I'm just gonna take this over here.
awesome.
She's ready. Remember, I'm a sous chef. You boss me around.
Push it ahead a
Can you
little,
grab me?
sweetie. Push it
Yep.
ahead a little bit more. With
Like
yeah.
that?
Thank you. Yep. Perfect.
Can I grab
And
you?
then, can you grab me a spatula, please?
Yep.
Wow, the heart thing is so cute.
Thank you. And then I'm just gonna stir this
Like I helped.
in
She's
as.
you kind of dump it in all at once.
Yeah.
And then arrowroot powder, I will say arrowroot powder, flour, whatever we'd like to call it, it has more of a gelatinous feel
It
than
looks
reg-
like a cornstarch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it look okay.
which is very inflammatory. You want to talk about cornstarch?
We're not pointing fingers
We're
yet.
not, no. And some people ask me, can I use a gluten-free flour for this? This is gluten-free, and I would highly recommend doing this over a gluten-free flour because those are different. We've tried gluten-free flours. We haven't had the success that we've had with this.
Okay, so it is kind of lumpy.
Yes,
So are you
Yes.
gonna mix it until it's not lumpy anymore?
she will.
Is that the plan? Would you use a whisk? Or is that crazy?
Would you like a whisk?
No, you just leave it like this because then you're gonna mix it in with the eggs and then
It
it's
does
gonna
get
get
mixed again.
Okay.
And it is kind of lumpy, but that's okay.
And I believe I have a very dear friend from Canada, Angela Vivolo. Ellerby is her married name, and we've known each other for years, and she's tuning in here with her two kiddos.
hi,
They're
Angela.
Piper and Finnegan are following along, as well as your cousins, Anthony and Nicholas.
Oh, hey guys.
See, maybe they may be able to make these and give their mom a break.
Oh,
My
wait a
sister-
minute. Is there a special day coming up this weekend?
Oh,
Is there?
so let me tell you what. You know, my sister did. My sister's a teacher in Canada. She shared this whole post and all of this stuff with her 6th grade classes, and suggested that they make their mom a very special treat. Yeah, so she's great like that. One time,
They're
a couple
getting
years ago.
bonus points, right?
Yeah, of course they're getting bonus
For
points.
sure.
A couple years ago, we FaceTimed her class and we made breakfast.
Oh, that is
Wow.
so
Yeah.
cute.
It was great. So it's a fun educational
Okay,
thing.
we're
Okay,
looking.
that
This,
is
you just kind of want to
interesting.
stir this until the flour
Yeah.
is all the way mixed in and it kind of starts to get hard to stir
Reminding
anymore.
me of
So it just kind
marshmallows.
It's what it looks
Yeah.
like. Yes.
of gets to that
Marshmallows.
consistency.
I mean, you know.
Yes, and
I
my
don't eat
sister,
those, but
but
I'm
and,
just saying.
but sometimes, sometimes when you're describing something, it like just like that, like when you can say consistency, but what does that really mean? And marshmallows now, and then when we get to mix it in here, it almost gets, I call it webby. So, and that will make sense when we get to see what it looks like. Now we're going to allow that to cool a bit.
Yes, cool
Okay.
for a couple minutes, and then while we're doing that, we can start melting. Do you want to start melting chocolate now?
Yeah, we can do that. Let's do that, Isabella. Send Carter back over here, and this is make sure you mention what temperature you're at,
Yes. Put that on low then.
and I'll let.
Let me grab this butter.
So I don't think I have this in the cookbook or whatever, but I have. I use extra dark baking chips, and
You have organic dark chocolate, and then you say 72% or more cacao.
yes, that's what. Yes, that's what I. So
Not
let me see. I do the dark chocolate. You can use, if you don't have this, you could use some chocolate chips. I have the 70% cacao,
Okay.
and I use this one too a little bit sometimes. Just a little touch of sea salt. This is not 70% cacao, but you could add a couple of these, or you can add a pinch of salt. Either one.
Okay.
So either one. You can go ahead and break. Do you want to
Okay.
mix them both together, or?
Sure.
Yeah, we can do that.
I think HB sells an organic 70% chip.
Really?
I'm pretty
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
They also have these chips. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of them, but they're called lilies,
No.
and they're made out of stevia. So it has
Oh.
stevia, has no sugar, and they're
sugar.
chocolate chips.
Lilies, like
Yes,
L-Y.
Lily apostrophe S, and they have chocolate bars. They have chocolate chips, and there's no sugar. It's just
And they're
stevia.
dark chocolate.
Yes,
Layla, where do we get these?
you can get them at HEB.
Okay.
No,
All kinds of good information.
Okay, so do you already have the butter in there, or
Yes.
you do chocolate first?
I did throw some butter in there. Just
Isabella, why can't we just throw, what's the butter? Like, why can't we just use chocolate?
chocolate's
Stick.
gonna like stick and get burnt, kind
Okay.
of. And,
Adam and Andrew say hi. Their mom is looking
Andrew.
forward to their
Yay,
experiment.
that's my so Andrea is my sister's very dear friend, and I taught with her for years at Lake Avenue Elementary in Stony Creek.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
this is adorable.
So those are her two children. Oh, so sweet. Thank you guys for doing it.
This is
So fun. So while our chocolate is melting, this is a dessert that we do in stages. As we're letting this batter cool, I want to just introduce our next segment. So, Meredith and I are going to have a friendly competition.
Is it gonna be friendly?
I don't know.
I think I just pushed you out the camera.
I think she's more competitive than me.
Right.
So, okay, so we'll pick teams.
No.
We'll pick teams.
Yes, I already called Izzy. You introduced her as the guns.
Oh my gosh, you
I
did.
mean, we've been working on our team name. We were plotting on this.
They have a team name.
Right. Because Izzy,
Start thinking, Tara. You're on my team.
Izzy, Meredith, I'm gonna beat you.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So.
What do y'all got? TM, MT. Yep. Okay.
Time
Keep working
to
on it.
lose.
Time to lose.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Sorry.
Snack talk. Snack talk. So
Y'all just don't. The TM.
there's
This
always
is about the food.
a couple different ways to do things, right?
Right.
So in the cookbook, in the holiday cookbook, I call them Phoebe cakes. Some people are really funny about ingredients, and if they know
Oh, I
what's
think
in
this
it,
is funny.
if they know what's in it, they won't eat it.
Right.
So you know how much of a baker I am. Some people have a pantry of baking stuff. Meredith, this is my baking basket.
This is
right here.
adorable.
This is what I have. Just this baking basket, and you can look through it and tell me if it, I don't have very many things in
Which
it.
is nuts. I mean, this cracks me up. I don't know where I'm supposed to be looking right now, but black beans.
Black beans.
I really thought you had mistyped the ingredients when you were talking
She
about
did.
this.
She
I'm like,
called me yesterday.
before I send this to my neighbors, I'm gonna just say, hey, check your ingredients list.
So one of the
Cannot
things that
imagine.
we strive to do on Keys Ingredients, and just in our family, we try to avoid, just like Layla said, is the refined sugar and refined flour. Two of the most inflammatory things for our bodies, and we just want to cut them out. So if you can't use sugar and you can't use flour, how on earth do you make a cake? So black beans replaces the flour.
That is absolutely crazy.
Now, last
I
week-
can't wait.
You're excited. You've never had these.
Never.
See, Tara
this is
has-
crazy.
We have them often at our
So do
Well,
we.
and I sent
Right.
it to my family, and my sister-in-law responded, and she said, "No, I've made a cake with black
She
beans
has.
before."
So
I'm telling you, you're getting me out of my little comfort
I
zone.
talked last week though about the beans and how some people, depending on your diet too, some people can't do beans. I'm not a huge black bean. I mean, I'll eat them, but so then I tried experimenting, and this is my next one: pumpkin seeds.
Tried this too? Delicious.
So you can use. We're gonna have
see
a
how
little
y'all got
competition.
these.
So
Yeah.
which one you want? You want
Well, we want beans.
you want beans? So Tara,
I
what-
think,
We're seeds.
I think the beans will give us a little bit more
Beans
gas.
are seeds.
I'll stop.
But ours
Shut
is
up.
gonna be, we're gonna be just cute as a pumpkin.
okay. So there's which.
So are y'all gonna ground those? Surely.
I'm not telling. How
We're not either. Where's the instructions? Izzy, you're on my team.
Okay,
Okay.
so what we're going your chocolate can be on low, and you can just leave that right there. We're going to return to the eclairs first. Now that we've established teams and some of our
And
ingredients,
ingredients.
okay, we've established that for the second one.
Okay.
So Isabella,
we're back to eclairs.
Yes.
if you don't have a, I guess you could use a food processor or this. This is what she's going to use though. Is called a pastry paddle. Okay, yeah.
Oh. I always call it my flat beater.
Okay, you can call it that. She's a pro, see?
I know.
It took me, I mean, I probably had that a
Someone
year.
Actually, yep.
Hold this
Now
up.
you're a sous chef.
There you go.
Yes, please tell me.
And
Oh,
you
I'm
give
on
me
the
the
chocolate.
hot kind of warm. So
I've got the
okay.
chocolate.
Now I waited tables, Izzy. Come on.
You, okay.
All right. So I'm gonna hold this here.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna.
Okay. So
Don't
you've just
press
let this.
in.
So this is still warm. Oh, but it's beautiful. I can't believe the consistency.
Yeah.
Is this
So
really
it's just
warm?
kind of, if it's sticking to your pot, it's okay. It's supposed to do that.
Am I being a good sous chef?
Yes.
But it's coming away from the sides.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, when we talked about if you're gonna know if it turned out or not, that's what I was talking about. If it's sticking all over the place,
Okay.
it'll easily come away from the sides of the pot if the consistency is correct.
What do you? So it's about consistency that makes it not work, not about heating or cooling or any of that. Okay.
It's consistency.
Would
It really is.
all-purpose flour give you that same consistency?
They're two different. No,
Bad
but it
question.
does. It comes together. It comes together
Okay.
a little bit more with all-purpose flour. Okay.
Okay, Izzy.
So now here we go.
All eyes back to you.
You start stirring this just kind of on a low speed. I have that. What is that? 2?
Two.
Yeah. And then, oh wait, you need to actually crack the eggs.
Do you want me to do that?
Miss Meredith,
No,
can
you
you
do
do
that
that?
in there?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know if you want
crack
this
the
Meredith.
eggs into the bowl first.
Okay,
We
perfect.
have 4 eggs here.
I have shell everywhere.
Yeah, whatever, either way you want. We're gonna crack them into the bowl first, and then we're going to drop the eggs in one by one, like yolk by yolk.
Okay. So I have a goofy question. I know true bakers are a believer that eggs need to be room temperature. Is that something true here, or does it really matter?
I don't really know.
You know what?
answer to that
I
question.
would agree with that. I would
So
agree
you
with
would
that.
kind of want these room temperature. Okay. I mean, when I got here, they were sitting
She
out.
gets them straight out of the coop.
And then I'll leave them on the counter.
Yeah.
So yes, if you don't have room temperature eggs, it'll definitely still turn out. Just letting you know.
Okay, so you're doing those one by one.
One at a time.
Okay. It's a tough little guy.
Yeah, that one doesn't want to break. Then if that's happening, you can just turn up the speed a little bit. Just have it. Okay. We'll add that last one here.
Oh my gosh,
There you
you're
go.
just so sweet.
Perfect.
And then because the egg kind of makes it a little liquidy, you kind of want to wait a little bit before you turn it all the way up to mix it up. But then you'll just gradually turn up the speed more and more.
So this is a KitchenAid. It's the commercial one. I don't know if they're all the same, but she's got that on a 4 right now. Who has the recipe? Does it say? Does it give specific instructions? It probably should. I mean, if I wrote it, it probably doesn't. But
It says, increase speed to a 4 and then blend until eggs are thoroughly mixed in.
Yep. And we're gonna get that web-like consistency here in just a minute.
Do you have to scrape the sides?
Usually don't have to.
Okay.
This time I might a little bit.
Oh, you're brave. Oh,
No.
you're brave.
Almost went fine there.
Okay. So far, I can totally handle this.
It's not as bad as it appears. But you know, a choux pastry is very intimidating.
Now,
Do we have any questions at all from viewers, Layla?
Not yet.
Wonderful. Isabella, you're doing a great job.
choux pastry. Why
Pardon
do
me?
you call it a choux pastry?
That's French, I believe, and it's not S-H-O-E. It's got a French
Like a
spelling.
choux.
Yeah,
So I do
choux.
know French.
Oh, is that
Yeah,
That's
choux.
what
I
you
make
do
it
together.
together.
Then you say choux, choux,
Choux.
and then later you toss them one. You say choux.
Choux pastry. So we are. Do you see what I'm talking
It
about?
is
Getting
getting
thicker. It's getting webby.
Kind of doughy. I guess that's because yeah.
And every now and again, my sister will ask too. She's like, "Man, I've got to get Isabella to show me because sometimes if it's not mixed enough, they don't. They're still a little bit soggy, I guess, inside. Oftentimes you can get away with that because you fill it with cream, but sometimes you do not want that doughy texture.
Okay.
You want me to stir the chocolate?
Sure.
Yes, please.
All right.
Your finger accidentally went in there. And
Oh! Can this be one of those shows where I am looking my finger in the water?
This is looking great.
This is a part I still ask for help with a little bit. I'm like, is this webby enough? But
No, you're just trying to make it onto
Okay, we got our first question.
We've got a question. Yes, ma'am.
Sam Faysal asked, when do we come over for the judging?
You know my door's
Anytime.
always open.
asking which ones he's voting for.
yeah. If he's on our side, then it's
Right,
okay.
yeah. I'm going to turn this up just a little bit. There we go. So I've actually increased this to 6 right now, but
All right. It doesn't say that.
I know.
It doesn't. It says
Tara and I, we're going to get along just fine.
And I'm a
Cool follower.
And a watch pot never boils, right?
That's what I've been doing.
How do you feel? How do you feel about that?
I think that's probably about done.
No.
By the way, it says 4 to 5 minutes. Did you set a
So this could
timer?
be a while.
No, but I think we've got to
Sorry,
another minute, and I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
Do you think 4 to 5 minutes? Yeah.
And it's getting
I would
pretty
say that's
webby.
the webby look that it usually gets.
Since we have a camera here, we need to see the webby look.
Do I need to start like draining or doing anything with
We
my
have not
beans?
blown the whistle.
Okay,
We
right.
have not done that yet.
I'm
so
just
we're
gonna,
Who's gonna
crank
be
on
the
my
ref? Is Layla
beans.
the ref?
Yes, yes.
I can be the judge.
This looks beautiful. These look beautiful.
Okay. I think we can go ahead and turn this off.
If y'all are gonna turn it off, I think y'all need to show the camera exactly when y'all turn it off. What this looks like.
4 to 5 minutes.
We have
We always have to have Miss Meredith keeping us in check.
Exactly. I just know what kind of cook I am.
How's that?
Oh yeah.
So pull it up to where we can see, is it stringy? Is it
Like hold it up.
okay?
Yeah.
All right, so about that. Okay.
No chunks, right?
No chunks.
No, not really. Just.
Good job.
Oh, that looks yummy.
So, for the sake of time, I will have Isabella, I'll have you and Miss Tara spoon these. We're going to use a tablespoon.
Okay.
And we're going to spoon
Hey, she
them.
used the measurement.
I know, I didn't know she knew that term.
Well, I know. So you guys can use tablespoons, and I've got cookie sheets ready. Our oven is preheated. We are at sea level here, so if you're in Canada, I'm not sure. I wonder if there's any. If my sister might chime in and tell us what she bakes hers at, maybe so.
We can see.
I'm not sure, but we'll see.
While
While
the cookie sheets over
no,
here,
they can go over here. You guys can go there and
Okay.
spin them on.
And when you are spinning this out, it is going to be sticky on your hands.
Yes.
Just don't freak out if that
Yeah.
happens.
So
Just
maybe
have to get soap
Carter
and
will
scrub it
do a
off.
little bit. I think Carter should get a little bit of that. You guys spooning it out as well.
Well, and if you were listening last week, the tip about putting your hands in ice water when using the meat, that works for anything. So
Really?
you can dip your hands in ice water and it'll still stick, but it won't stick as badly.
Well, let's try that.
Here, I'll get some ice.
Alright.
Alright.
So we'll take these guys over, and Meredith's gonna grab you guys, excuse me, some ice, and we are going to move on now to.
Cooking competition.
Yes, we're gonna have to relocate a few things. Well, I guess we can keep them side by side. It's fine. So let's discuss this, Meredith. Do you
Yes.
want to make cupcakes or a cake?
Izzy, do we want to make cupcakes or a cake?
I think we've kind of maybe pre-decided this a little bit before
Uh-huh.
you saying cupcakes.
I think
Is that
cupcakes.
done?
Yeah.
That
It
was
just
what I
sounds
was
like fun little
Okay.
black bean.
That's fine. So Tara, you and I are going to make a cake. Okay.
Y'all get the boring rectangle.
You're
We're
exactly.
already starting out as
You know,
squares.
you know what? I've got some ideas. I've got some ideas.
Hey, yeah, let's see
All
what
right.
you do with
Because
it.
she's stealing
So
them.
here's
from
my
me.
baking basket. Now we need the
Baking basket with beans.
Yeah, right. And okay, so we've got the recipe for the. Yes, these are our measuring tools. Now we're gonna have to share. Can you share?
I can work on it.
Okay. Okay. So these are labeled, and I promise I didn't switch them.
Okay, right. No, I'm
Right.
watching you.
So here's the ingredients for the black. Well, these are called black bean cakes in this book.
Okay.
We call them BB cakes, but mine are going to be pumpkin seeds. So we are going with 10 eggs beaten.
Okay.
If you have a high, you don't have to go with the Vitamix,
Right.
but the Vitamix, Blendtec, Ninja. If
You have two
you use it-
Vitamix?
I do.
You have the problem.
One for me. Okay, so I have this really good friend, Sue, and I met Allie through Sue. And Allie was doing Sue's hair one time, and Sue ran out of hairspray, and Allie goes, "Well, that's fine. Where's your backup?" So this is what I have. I have a backup
Wow.
Vitamix. Yes,
Wow.
I have. If one breaks, what am I going to do? So, and I do a lot of cooking classes, so I always bring
Always
one,
have one.
have one at home. So we are going to go through the ingredients. At home, you'll need 10 eggs
Okay.
beaten, but you don't have to beat them because they're going to go in here. Food processor. Tara, you do food processor. yes?
I do the whole thing in a food processor.
There we go. So 2.5 cups cooked black beans. So you could be using the hard black beans, the what are they called? Like the ones that are not dry.
Yes.
You can be using those, but they'd have to be cooked and drained and prepared.
Sounds
We're
like a lot of
using
mess.
yeah, so we're just using the ones that we got. You can use a can of black beans. We're using a pouch today. It says 2.5 cups. One of those is enough. But you can measure it. You can measure it if you want.
By the way, Carter found those beans in the bag, which
Yes.
I love.
Yes,
They are not with the regular beans. Where are they, Carter?
they're in the aisle.
They're
I
on
think-
like the aisle next to it. They're on a separate aisle.
They are on a separate aisle. Yes, they're not.
Frustrating to
With
find
the,
them.
wait a minute, that's at your HEB. At my HEB, they're right together.
They're not with the rice and beans in our HEB.
Maybe that was a COVID mishap.
You never know. You never know. So,
And you prefer bag because you don't like aluminum.
I'm not a big fan of the can, you know how I feel. So I'm going to be using pumpkin seeds. My measurement for pumpkin seeds is actually 2 1/4 cups. So if you're using pumpkin seeds, that's your substitution there. 2 1/4 cups. We're doing 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I know that some people measure, but I think like teaspoon, tablespoon.
I saw you grab a
Yeah,
tablespoon
I
earlier.
know
and
that's
I'm like,
some people don't like that, but I do that.
right, of course you
Okay, and so then there's
We're
2
gonna use the
teaspoons
measure.
of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So I say let's start cracking our eggs,
Right.
right? So we're gonna have to share
Let's
some
not
of
have
these
a race
ingredients.
cracking eggs. This is a one of my gifts.
Now can I move this or is this plugged
I
in?
want the red one. 'cause
You,
it's
I know you.
I know.
I'll be
It's
like
plugged
I'm
in,
all
but
about
I'm sure we can
presentation.
unplug it. Let's.
If we just move it over a little bit, maybe not. It's okay. So one of the things I did want to talk about was the coconut oil situation. I buy unrefined. Before this started today, we were really concerned about there are different kinds of coconut oil. So I'm going to tell you sum up the best way I can. Coconut oil is a saturated fat. It's a very good saturated fat for you. Don't listen to anybody else that says it's not. So we are going to have to melt this. So I can either melt it under the sink, hot water, or I can actually add it to a frying pan, which I think I'm going to do because it's a whole cup that I'm required to use today. Meredith also we have this one here. This is the refined. There's 2 differences. This is refined, which just kind of means they went through a little bit of processing and it will remain liquid. This one at room temperature or even easier. It's a lot easier, this one. And here's the difference. Sometimes the refined doesn't have a coconutty taste. So if you have someone in the family that doesn't like coconut, then you can do that. So I think just for, as you say, ease, we'll probably both use that.
You didn't bring your own coconut oil?
We'll see. Actually, unless, so here's the other substitution I can make with this is honey or maple syrup. So which one would you like?
Wow. We want the black beans. We want honey.
You want honey?
We want honey.
Okay, you may.
This is parameters, not rolls.
I agree.
Okay.
So because there's no sugar in the recipe, refined sugar,
Right.
we're absolutely going to use a
And
substitute.
we're gonna try this.
We're gonna try this
Maple
one.
syrup.
Okay.
I've never tried it with maple
I-
You have not.
Hey, I'm gonna use honey. Izzy
Well,
and Meredith are
cheers.
gonna use honey.
Cheers. So, all right, Tara, let's get started over here.
Okay.
We have to come over here though.
Do
We
I
need
need
to-
to pre-crack these in like a bowl?
And I can assist you both. So Tara, you start here.
Okay.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. So if
I
you
know.
bake, most people say yes. They say you need a bowl. So let me get you guys. A couple bowls.
Oh, what happened to my phone? Oh, good.
Here we go. The reason is if you are using 10 eggs, which this recipe calls for. Oh, she wants the red one. You better move over, sister.
What?
Okay. So if you are using, if you're not going to crack your eggs into a bowl and you get to the 10th egg and there's, that little blood spot or
Yeah.
whatever is wrong with the egg, then you got to ditch them all.
Oh shoot,
So-
you can't use the blood spot?
Well, and some people don't like to. So, parameters.
Extra protein.
No rules. No parameters, no rules.
Okay, no rules.
So,
Okay.
go ahead and make your
Yes, right.
your
Okay,
eggs.
so I'm gonna, because I'm not, I do make these a lot, but I don't know I don't even know the cup.
10 eggs. Oh,
No,
So
of the
are you-
pumpkin. Because I do that first,
Two?
right? Because.
Oh, because you all ground your pumpkin. I'm curious to see
Oh,
how you're gonna do the pumpkin.
No,
we're not telling her.
I do it all together.
Oh, you do? So I always grind. I do mine grind mine and then okay, let's go with you. You're the expert.
I
I'm
love
far
how
from
many
an
different
expert.
ways you can do this.
So let's do 2. This is let's be for real. Look at. Do you want the red cups, Meredith, or do you
It
want the
matches
orange?
mine. It
Okay.
matches
Oh,
mine.
mine. No, she's a matchy.
Look at this. Hey, can I see those bowls for a second?
We get
If
the
you're
red spatula.
if you're
Yeah.
Texan, right?
Oh,
Look at
oh,
the battle
for
here right
sure.
now. I got like an A&M UT thing
Oh
going
my
on here.
goodness.
Well,
Okay, so we'll go for the red ones. I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to stick with these ones.
It's okay.
So-
I'm confident of my Aggie blood. It doesn't matter if I eat orange pills.
You are. I'm confident. So this
Might
is
not-
our.
might not even try y'all's cake.
This is, if you go to this line, it's
Yes.
1 cup.
You got it.
And then we are doing a cup. We're doing 2
I know
Actually,
your spoons are right here, right?
2 cups.
Okay, 2 cups? Okay.
Yeah, spoons are right there.
Let's see. Oh my gosh. This is
Oh,
amazing.
you're so funny. You are so funny.
Well,
So we'll do 2.25 cups. Okay.
Because I do remember this, it's 2.5 beans.
Yes.
And if you, I think it's exactly 2 of these bags.
Is it 2? Oh.
I'm
Maybe
pretty darn sure.
okay, you have to
I
measure.
do it that way, and it works.
Okay.
Because
Well, and if they're drained, that would make sense because one bag's only 16 ounces.
I'm pretty sure I just used 2 of those bags.
I'm sure you slipped
I
on that.
didn't know which team was going to use the beans, so I do have a strainer.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're
Our
welcome.
team, the
How we
team
doing?
I'm would love
Good.
the strainer.
We're gonna put them in?
Yeah. Give me a
So we
cracker.
put these out.
Let's
Oh,
see.
cracking me.
Sure, why not? I trust you.
Thank
Even
you.
though we're
I'm
on
gonna count to 10.
we're opposing
Okay.
forces.
So
They
these
look like
are-
pancakes.
Yes,
Okay.
they do look like little pancakes, and they will rise and get really puffy. So
Your oven has been preheated. Let's pop them in here.
These really neat
Both on the
little
top, Isabella?
things.
I love her little glass.
So what did we say the oven was preheated to again? 400?
Ours was preheated to 400 here
and we're going.
here in the south.
Okay,
I'm
I'm
always
going
supposed to be in the oven.
Pardon me?
30 minutes, right? That's black beans.
And we'll. One thing you don't want to be doing with a choux pastry is opening and closing the door. I don't know if that's for all baking. I don't bake one, but we don't want to be opening and closing the door. The heat escapes and they can fall. So we have to peek through, put the light on and peek through. Watch them rise.
Okay.
Yes,
you do
ma'am.
everything in here, so I can dump away.
Dump away.
Can I put the eggs in there? No, that's y'all's. I'm just cracking them for you.
You're just the
Oh,
cracker.
you cracked our eggs?
She's-
Well, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
She
Maybe
I'm
I'm doing
really,
one less.
I'm
y'all.
really
Yeah.
impressed.
She was being
Oh,
fun.
maybe I'm using one less. So
all
funny.
off the shelves.
Funny story about my grandmother. If you each knew my grandmother and you each asked her for a recipe, she always left out an ingredient, never the same one.
Wasn't that on Everybody Loves Raymond?
Well,
Was it
typical Italian family.
Marie
Marie.
Barone?
Yeah.
And she
So-
would her spices in her spice rack.
My
was
sweet
mislabeled.
grandmother, after she passed away, when my mom and my aunt compared notes, they didn't have the same recipe.
Okay, I'll be counting these.
That. And the
I think
chocolate
this
is
is about
melting.
right.
Okay, so do
The
I need?
chocolate's melting back here right now, and it's starting to get a silky kind of look.
It does, yes. Beautiful. I think we can shut that down.
Rain.
Beautiful.
So glad you didn't require hairnets.
Hairnet.
What made you say that?
Oh, because she's over your food. You said she's playing dirty. She's looking right.
So if you win, you'll just win by a hair.
Oh,
I can't stop. I'm gonna stop. I'll stop.
Okay, so white eggs. Look at this. Look at this.
I feel like you have not contributed to our team. I've cracked all their eggs.
I'm sorry, I was still working on the eclairs.
Right. No, all I'm doing is this.
beautiful.
Yeah. I've talked
I've
a
made
lot
these.
of snacks. I'm really
Let's take
excited.
these out of the way. Next in line over here.
Vanilla has some vanilla.
Yep, we are gonna do 2 teaspoons of vanilla.
Okay.
2 teaspoons of vanilla.
I can't tell which team's in the lead right now.
We are, of course, we have 2 ingredients already coming. 2 teaspoons of vanilla.
So, One of the
Izzy is
reasons-
individually rinsing each
one of the reasons I actually made this recipe as big as it is back in the day when, it was your child's birthday in elementary school, you got to bring the whole class cupcakes kind of thing.
Right.
And so I wanted a recipe that made enough for the class. We, of course, never told the children that there were black beans or alternative ingredients in here.
Right.
Kids are the best taste testers because they have no shame and they don't even think twice about going ew yuck or ew gross. And
They
there were
did not?
never
brilliant.
ever any left. Truly, never.
So is one of your drivers to do this? I mean, black beans obviously has a lot of protein.
A lot of
I don't
protein.
know anything about pumpkin seeds.
But do
so
you know
I-
about eggs? Because they have a lot of protein.
Right.
Yes.
To me.
So here's the thing. I don't want this to be. I don't want it to be a sinful pleasure. How much vanilla?
You know
Vanilla?
what? You know
We
what's so
need
great
2.
about these things is I have 2 little girls, and I can always say yes.
Yes.
If I make them, I can just say, sure, you can have another. Now, I will say, I'm a little nervous if I give them too many at night because I think the chocolate, they're a little harder to settle down
Well,
at night.
and I honestly, they're full of protein, full of healthy fat. In the morning, my kids will eat them for breakfast. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
a chocolate muffin,
You can have a chocolate muffin for breakfast.
How about that?
I'm not
with a cup of coffee.
Y'all need to get to know me a
No,
little bit.
but look, would you say you could eat all of these things for breakfast?
What if your child said, can I have eggs?
Everybody calm down. Kids are not having chocolate for breakfast. Okay, what's our next ingredient?
Okay, next ingredient. Have you guys got
Y'all
the
can have chocolate
vanilla?
for breakfast.
We're going 2 teaspoons of baking powder.
2
So that's this one.
teaspoons of baking,
Bacon powder.
Okay.
1, and then
Our recipe's almost already
2
ready.
teaspoons. That's the
It's
It's
teaspoon.
neck and neck.
Oh,
I'm stealing what you say. What is it? Oh, here's.
No, we're not. No, we're not in a race. We're not in a race.
We're not in a race.
No, it's not a race. It's a friendly tasting competition.
Oh, Isabella, you are so good. You set a timer.
I did.
Oh, you're so good.
Because
Another reason all baking fails me.
one of these.
Shoot, those cookies, I went to the store and back.
I have a question.
Yes.
Now, because I did this the other day, what was I making? Carrot cake. If you accidentally mix baking soda or baking powder,
Oh.
Together?
no, say
Mix
it's
them
all
up?
for baking soda and you accidentally put baking
How did it work out for you?
Well, I fished it out and I was prepared.
Yeah.
But I was
They
wondering
do,
to myself.
not like I know a lot, but they do 2 totally different things. And so my sister's husband's mom, my sister's mother-in-law, is literally a master baker. She doesn't measure and she doesn't set timers while baking. It's
Wow.
incredible. Yeah, it's
Two
incredible.
of these, correct?
Of the
Yes.
powder, yes.
Because
And that is a retractable, reclinable spoon.
How do you do it? Just like
Yep.
that?
If it,
wow.
is it tablespoon?
Teaspoon.
Teaspoon. No, I think.
You want a
Yes.
table?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Okay,
Teaspoon.
2
2
teaspoons.
teaspoons.
Yeah, 2 teaspoons of baking powder,
2 teaspoons.
1 teaspoon baking.
Okay, so I have a question.
Okay, Layla.
What else in baking can you substitute black beans for? I mean, flour, but like, what could you do it when you're baking cookies or something like that?
I have seen. And you know what else?
Yeah.
Not vanilla
Chickpeas.
cakes. Not
Not
vanilla
vanilla
cakes.
cake. Okay.
Chickpeas is so if black
Okay.
beans are black, right?
Mhm.
They're gonna add that color.
Yeah.
You could never make a vanilla cake, but if you wanted the bean, you could do chickpea.
So
And there
this
actually is
is-
chickpea flour.
Oh.
This is
This is
oil.
our oil. Cacao. Here's your cacao.
Okay, I'm going with my coconut oil right here.
Okay.
Love me some coconut oil.
Just 1 cup. Do you want me to read that out for you guys? Let me see this.
So I do want to point out, I thought it was interesting how you melted your coconut oil the other day into
Yes.
hot water.
Yes.
Almost like you would warm a bottle.
Yes, exactly
crazy.
right. And like I say, there's several different ways to warm that. You can put it on the frying pan, in a pot.
Maple
so
syrup.
maple syrup. So we are doing maple syrup. Where's our
It's
maple
a cup
syrup?
right there.
Oh, here it is. Okay, here we go.
Is it a cup?
It is.
Now I bought this the other day from Costco.
Okay.
I noticed it was a great price.
Yes.
I've never tried it.
Oh,
I
it's
don't
very
usually
good.
buy it from Costco.
Who has? Hey Layla, do you have a internet handy there?
Yeah.
Can we bring up a comparison on maple syrup? Honey is sweeter than maple syrup. I don't, or vice versa.
Let's
Yeah.
I would say honey is
Mrs.
Honey's sweeter.
Can you open your phone?
I'm
You can
gonna
look
do.
on your phone because
I'm
it's
thinking.
connects
Yeah,
up.
I'm thinking 3/4 of a cup, but we'll try it.
So-
try
I'm just
that.
gonna go a little less than a cup.
Yes, do a little bit less than a cup.
So what's the question?
So
Let's
the
look at it.
question is to substitute maple syrup for honey.
What do you think?
I don't know, maple syrup is so tasty. Yep.
Yeah, my friend Cammy loves maple syrup. She always chooses that over honey.
Well, that's going to be really close.
Yeah. It'll be-
Yeah.
So do you want to? That's a. Oh, there's
So
a cup
she's
there
like,
for
oh,
sure.
what do you want to pick? The honey
Yeah.
is
Now, I don't know.
Crystallized,
You
so
might
it's
you might want to
even
heat
sweeter.
that.
You might want to heat it.
You might wanna
We
heat that.
Pop
I
this
think
whole
so.
baby.
Or honey.
All right,
Say
so
microwave
we
because
have
you
our
don't have
answer.
one.
And you would never put that in the microwave.
No, I would not.
Never. She would
I'm
never
gonna put
do
it on
that.
the stove.
She was
because
trying
of
to
the
explode your microwave.
Right.
If you had one, but we don't have a microwave.
So we can definitely go ahead with the cacao.
So it says to
I
substitute
do,
maple syrup
but I
for
don't.
honey in a recipe, use 3/4 a cup of maple syrup.
Wow! I promise I didn't plan that. See that? I promise.
Yes, you
So
said you
it's-
were gonna blow lines today, and you just did.
That's so
There
funny.
we go.
Okay,
So-
so now I'm gonna take this crystallized
Now,
honey.
This it says that we can do 1 cup of mini chocolate
Stir
chips.
those in.
However, yes, you don't put if you put them in the Vitamix, they will chop up. If you don't, you stir them in afterward. You can keep little chunks of chocolate
Correct.
through your. And if you don't have them, it's okay. just a little bit less sweet. So, do we
I want to make sure we've
do we
gotten
do
everything
cacao?
marked.
We didn't do cacao.
I feel like y'all are kind of creating a disclosure for your cake already.
What do you mean?
That it's not going to be as sweet.
Oh, no,
no,
it's
no,
gonna be
we're gonna add them.
Oh, okay.
So this is what I'm saying. You can add a cup of mini chocolate chips to this,
Okay.
but you can do it two ways. You can put it in,
Yes.
and then it will get chopped up with all the other ingredients, all blended together. Or you could stir them in later, and then you have little bits
little
of chocolate.
crunch.
Yes,
A little
through
crunch,
there,
crunch.
and they melt, but there's like little chocolate punches.
Yes.
You know?
I'm in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Let me. You guys say check. Eggs,
Check.
beans or pumpkin seeds.
Check.
Vanilla.
Check.
2?
No. Yeah. Two.
Yeah, okay.
Vanilla.
Good job,
Baking powder.
Check.
Did you do baking soda?
No.
Okay, you need a teaspoon of baking soda. And then cacao, which is different than cocoa. Cocoa
You
is
need to
highly
say it
processed.
like
I love this. And then if you used honey, go with the cup. If
Tara,
you
they're
did-
not going to let us back.
Yeah, they are.
They are.
Gosh, you're the backbone. You're the backbone of the show.
Cacao.
Okay, so honey. You did honey?
We did honey, but I don't think, did we do coconut oil?
No.
Okay,
No.
only needs a teaspoon of.
Do you want to use that one and warm it, or do you want to use this one?
This one looks a lot easier.
Yeah.
I love all of God's coconut oil, but I like the
Baking
easier one.
soda.
Baking soda.
I hope I put the right one in.
I'm pretty sure you did. Well, I guess we'll find out. Oh my gosh.
Okay, I need a teaspoon. Okay. What if I didn't? I think it was fuller. I think that the one, yeah, I'm pretty sure I did the right one.
Yeah, I think you did.
So,
So
I wouldn't let you.
this is going to be a base chocolate cake, right? So it is. I mean, either way. Good for you. What happened?
Nothing.
Oh.
Nothing at all. Just a little
Oh my!
chocolate.
See, that's my sweet pampered chef retractable
I
spoon.
was about to bring over
Do your
Yes,
chefs
I'm
always
ready.
make this much
I'm done.
mess?
Yes. Now we're gonna stir these in. I'm going to get some bowls for us.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry, I cook like my mother. I've got to get every little bit.
Okay, we're ready.
Wow, that melted fast. Now we're putting it all.
Oh, my
Because
husband.
we're in heated.
Whoa.
Oh, thank goodness that's not purple. Just a spoonful of sugar. This is
All right.
running a
So where's our lid? Hey, you know what, guys? Let's.
cacao lid.
Okay, it's gonna be amazing.
I'll find that.
Oh, it's right here.
There it is.
Right here. I'm keeping it.
She's
Now,
trying to sabotage you
There
guys.
are. If I was bringing these to a child's classroom, I probably wouldn't do. There's different ways to top these. You can use one of your traditional icing recipes. However, they usually call for powdered sugar, which makes me twitch a little. So I have a couple different suggestions for you. You could actually do. Isabella makes a great cream cheese icing, and she just literally adds maple syrup to that.
Yeah, maple syrup and vanilla, and that's it.
To cream cheese, blends that. The whipped cream won't survive, transport into the school, etc. So sometimes I will just take them and put a little bit of chocolate on top and a single raspberry. Beautiful.
Oh.
So there's different ways to top these afterward. Can you smell the eclairs?
Mm-hmm.
I can smell them too. So we're going to go ahead and rev these bad boys up, and we'll bring them over here to show people. Consistency is going to be pretty. And
You
know
sure
what?
you have
We're gonna
everything?
taste. I think they've got everything.
Check, double check. Oh, she may be trying to
I
sabotage
know.
you.
She took the book. You've got everything.
Alright.
Pretty sure. And you're welcome.
So this is amazing.
You're welcome.
So you've got
You're welcome.
thank you. Enjoy your cracked eggs. So you have the whole pumpkin seeds in there.
Yes.
do.
Sometimes we put the whole pumpkin.
No.
Today is the
And I would be at home going, well, she said put the whole pumpkin.
Yeah.
Sorry, you can't say that's something. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Double check.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Kyle, I want the new updated version.
Oh no. I apologize, Kyle. I'm apologizing. Do not covet your neighbor's vitamins.
I didn't say have it. I just said I want it.
Engines are rubbing.
Wow, it's loud in here.
Talk it to mine.
Okay. We can pop that top off and give it a little bit of a stir.
Maybe that's
You know,
it.
soups and I mean, I like the thicker.
This is what I like the most. This is why.
This has a big wide mouth.
Why I use my food processor. Because
Uh-oh.
my Vitamix is the taller, skinnier one, and you really can't get down in there.
Correct. But this new
I think it needs tasting though.
what is this attachment? It fits all of them.
Yeah.
So
But
this is not
I'm curious to see what
smooth.
it smells like.
Okay.
Taste it. Never mind. Smell it.
Can I?
Yeah.
That is crazy that you cannot taste the black bean.
See what I'm saying? Okay, here, taste ours. See if this is any different. See if this is any different.
You know, honestly, Michelle,
Where-
mine is a little bit not as thick as that. When I
Well,
make it.
we're going to.
It's the consistency that's a
Mine are
little different.
Yours
is a
are
little
still
thicker.
our pumpkin seeds are not.
I was gonna say.
So.
And also, here's another thing
Okay, I gotta stop.
there's less liquid because we added a fourth cup less syrup.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Black bean may be in the lead.
You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to make an amendment.
Need to add water?
Nope. I'm going to add, instead of chocolate chips, I'm going to add more maple syrup. And I'm not going to add the full cup. Okay. I agree with the liquid thing.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Bella, did you make this with a cup of maple syrup ever? Do you remember?
I probably do.
Yeah. So ours was.
Yes.
Yeah, because we want it to be they're super liquidy when I make them.
So, and I'm gonna stir that into it. I
You're
think.
not gonna just mix it.
I'm gonna mix it for sure, but I just want to make sure that that's. Oh dear.
I didn't even know.
I do think that baking makes way more of a mess than cooking. I'm gonna just say that,
It's so delicious.
isn't it?
Yeah.
And usually kids are involved when you bake.
Oh yeah.
That's
Listen,
pretty
my kids were mandated to the
messed
kitchen.
up.
They were in diapers. They were cooking. Okay. Oh, sorry.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna take
So we are making the cake.
Is everything?
Because we're doing that, I'm
Oh,
going
wait.
to. Yeah, we can.
give it on.
Yep. And if you need the tamper, do you want the tamper for the Vitamix?
Maybe.
Okay.
Okay, so that is a thicker texture.
And
I know. I'm watching y'all. Ours is
Tara's
less.
right though. Tara's right because we have less liquid. But I'm telling you, when I say parameters, no rules, this is one of those things.
I've never messed these up.
So good.
Never.
Ever.
So you guys can add
That
your
sounds
stuff.
like a
We're-
challenge.
We're not right.
I'm just saying.
We're
It's
like-
not exact competition because I've never messed these up.
About how many chocolate chips are we using?
So
You
here's
don't
a-
want to measure?
We've never measured.
Oh my
goodness.
I did. I cooked with one of my neighbors the other day. And I
Is
gave her
everything
a whole
all right
bag.
with the
I
world?
know,
You are not.
right.
You're not measuring.
This is looking so the other difference is that we work with dry
Carter needs
pumpkin
to get a
seeds
shot.
versus wet beans.
It's exactly true. Yep.
Carter, you're
Sure.
gonna want to get this right here.
Look at that.
That luscious. See it? Look at how creamy and smooth.
You know what the best part about baking is, especially with chocolate chips?
Is eating them?
Yes.
Yes.
Always.
So,
Snack or
hey,
snack?
bakers in the crowd, when you do a cake, do you grease it and then flour it?
Sometimes.
I mean, that's how my grandmother taught
I'm
me.
gonna do it. I'm gonna do that today. I'm going to use the arrowroot flour.
It's not really a flour, kind of like powder mix.
Right?
Okay, so we're doing the silicone cupcakes.
Right here.
And the reason I use silicone is because I don't know.
They
Everything
pop out and they're amazing. Did you get this out for something special?
I did. Well, we were gonna put the. We don't
I can
need
take
it.
that,
And
Isabella.
no toxicity or anything when we're using silicone.
Great
Not
question.
about
Not
that.
that I know of, but I mean,
I don't know
I
anything
gotta
about
have those things to
that. I understand now. I do. I have silicone. But I was just
Do
curious about that.
you do a little diddle? Here's my
Hey, you ready for me to go with this?
I'm doing a little
Is that what
check
we're
on our eclairs for a second, guys. You look amazing.
Are we ready?
Well, sure.
Yes. We'll dump that in.
And then we're
Do you want me to
gonna
hold it for you?
Miss Sipko is not measuring.
Shush, 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 shush. No, we're oiling our silicone pan.
I'm me that a lot of bakers start chiming in for us and letting us know.
They're gonna
a
chime
thicker
in that
cake-
this is epic fail. They're gonna say I would not do that. You need to cradle your eggs, measure your flour.
And you know, there are baking recipes that are very, very finicky. You know, there are. And
Oh, yeah.
And if you miss, you know, sifting, you got that? If you miss sifting something, or you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then it messes it up.
Yeah.
And
Do you ever sift flour?
no. But I'm not, honestly, this is a whole challenge because I'm not a baker. And they're like, you can't write a cookbook and not put dessert in it. I'm like, okay, I can come up with it.
Are you feeling risky today?
Well, how many does this make? I've never made this recipe.
Oh,
You've already rocked my world with the black beans.
Isabella, it makes a lot. You're gonna need the other.
Okay.
I make like 3 or 4 times of my little minis.
So they rise.
They do.
Okay.
They do. I would go about.
They're gonna rise to the podium.
Rise to the occasion.
Okay. You want are we measuring these? We should measure.
Here,
it's the right thing.
there's
to do.
Oh, there we go. You're back to normal.
Right. Now is all is right in the world. Do we do like
Crazy Miss
and then we
Sipko
just won't do we'll do like a little ditty? No?
I think
Listen,
not that I'm trying to up your game or sabotage it, but
or give me some
I think a third.
Okay, wait. We have a comment
Okay, I
from
would love that.
Nina Singh. Oh wait, no, it's someone else.
She said black beans sounds good.
She says that she is following along and making the eclairs, and she just wanted to let everyone know.
Yes.
And then Andrea said that she would just use parchment paper when I think using the cake. I think
Now
that's what she
Andrea's a
meant.
fabulous cake maker, baker. She makes like the fondant. You know, the ones that
Yeah.
you see on TV. Andrea is amazing.
So your man messed up there.
She would have put parchment on the bottom.
I think so.
Interesting.
We will next time.
Yeah. Well,
I
I mean,
have a
is there
big
next
fan of
time y'all can make? This is the reason I don't bake
I will
is
do
because
this.
all y'all do it better than me.
Did these look full enough for showcase?
They do rise.
They do
Right.
rise.
So did
I think you could do a
more?
little bit more though, to be
Okay.
honest with you. Yeah. So, and we're gonna, you know what though, we need to pop this on a cookie sheet because it's harder to trans later.
Okay. Whoa.
So we're like really into this now. We have the eclairs in the oven. That's our
I mean, the whole
showstopper,
kitchen smells like chocolate.
right?
Yeah, it does.
And that is our like showstopper dessert. Then now we're on to number 2, which is either cupcakes or a cake. I'm going to, while these guys are filling. Sorry?
No,
You guys okay?
Yeah, no. I'm amazing.
The number 3, okay, have you had this happen? Hey, why don't you come for dinner? And then you go to the store and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna make it easy. I'll do some burgers, do some fries. And you're in the midst of getting everything together and then you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have dessert. So I'm gonna show you what you can do with just very little. Is this area right here, is this a good spot for camera?
Mr. Keys says steak over cake.
Oh my gosh, how funny.
Steak
So
over
my
cake.
father-in-law or my husband, Dr. Keys or?
Woodlands Family Chiropractic.
Oh my gosh, okay, steak over cake? Yes, because I say that a lot.
Yeah.
When at the end of beautiful meal, they come, do you want to know the dessert menu? And I've just had a lovely steak. I just say, no thank you, I'm good. Steak over cake.
Steak over cake.
Steak
Where's
over
the
cake.
beef?
Steak and cake. How about
Oh my
that?
god, Isabella
yes,
does
I'm
take
with
both.
Isabella.
And that's why
Are you
you're
able
my-
to get this right here, Carter? If I do a
Okay.
little something right here?
How do these look?
Can we, I think you're getting that, so that's perfect.
How
I
does
am,
this look?
it looks fabulous here, excuse me for one second.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm on Iron Chef and you threw out some pumpkin seeds and some black beans and said,
Like,
let's
what
make
did
a
I
cookie.
before today? You would not know what to do with that.
Never. I still haven't even tried it.
All right, so
So-
where's the smoke and mirrors?
This is the there. So this is my smoke and mirrors. I am going to show you a little thing. While these guys the eclairs are about to come out. These are about to go in, and you know how I go with my cute little bowls.
I love
One
them.
says thankful, one says grateful. I'm going to ask Isabel, will you do me a favor, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Will you please put this in one of these, and then we are going to get a little bit of granola. And Layla, I think there's a bowl of strawberries
There
in front of
is.
you. All right. So, and also in the drawer in front of you, sweetheart, there is a parchment paper already pre-cut.
You want me to wash the strawberries?
They're already washed.
So you pointed that out at the beginning of the show,
Yes.
so I wanted to make sure.
Okay. So thank you,
Yeah.
because so
That's what I'm here for.
this morning, right? This morning I washed them because you don't want to wash them and then do this. If you wash them, then put them on like a little paper towel or something and let them dry. I am putting this piece of parchment over. I love this beautiful, it's a little strawberry cake plate. My mother-in-law gave that to me years ago, and it's perfect for this dessert. So if you don't have strawberries, you can do other fruit. Like chocolate is like a great pair of jeans. It goes with everything, okay? So what I'm going to show you how to do here, this is my beautiful faucet, but it kind of throws me for a loop sometimes. I'm actually going to move this out of the way a bit. Are you getting, is that okay to do? Perfect. So I absolutely leave the stem on. As a matter of fact, if I'm making a strawberry smoothie, I'll use frozen strawberries. When I freeze my strawberries, I leave this on. It's a plant. So it's chlorophyll and I don't mind it.
That's so cute.
I take the strawberry by the top here, okay? And I'm going to dip it in this eclair topping. We're gonna have plenty. Okay, now it's just covered in chocolate. Here's where the smoke and mirrors, Layla, come in. You can do a little ditty like that.
Wow. Those look professional.
Right?
Look at that.
And this is just, and you know, at the end of a meal, this is so easy to throw a little bit of butter and chocolate chips or a little bit of butter and, you know, dark chocolate into a pan. If you know someone has a chocolate preference, then you can go ahead and put there's all kinds of different, there's chocolate with chili pepper in it. You know, this is our homemade granola actually, which is also in that cookbook. But I'm just gonna
I love your homemade
just,
granola.
I know it's, and look how pretty this is though. There we go. So this is the dessert that, Saved by the Bell. I'm gonna do just one of everyone here, one of each rather. And then what I'm going to do with these, obviously you can just keep going. However, you can leave some plain. You can put some granola. We're going to get these coming out.
Ready? Yeah, I mean, I'm going to get out of the way so you can get a shot of that. Those
Oh
are
my gosh, I
beautiful.
can't
So they've risen quite a bit.
Oh my gosh.
There's been times, I'm telling you, there's been times they've risen more.
Bigger than that.
How many minutes was this?
That was 25. Do you want to put them in for
I do. We're going to let them in just for a minute. We shouldn't have opened the door, but it's okay. It's all right. We're going to.
They're gonna live.
They are. And the reason the chocolate eclair looks so big and puffy is because it's stuffed. So we're actually, when we take these out, they're going to be hot. So we're going to have to wear like an oven mitt or use a dish towel. And you'll hold the eclair and with a sharp fork, you'll pierce the bottoms of them. And then the steam will start escaping. And that's so it doesn't stay soggy inside. The steam will escape. After everyone is pierced, then we cut them in half, stuff them, and that's why they look like little sandwiches.
Do they have to be cool when you stuff them?
Yes, we will let them cool.
I'm going to try one of these
Mr.
strawberries.
Keith
Yes.
says
Yes.
he wants a glass of wine with the strawberries.
Who says this?
Mr. Keith.
Yes. I love it. When Audrey was little, she would ask for strawberries without the treetops.
We are going to
Without the treetops. No treetops.
Wow.
Okay, and then I'm just.
There's a lot of desserts in here. I
Oh,
hope y'all are
Michelle, you
hungry.
make me a better person.
Oh,
Look at how pretty it is. I mean, mine doesn't look like yours.
Layla, this is smoke and mirrors.
I went all the way around. I know. Seriously, look, I'm gonna fluff my tree
So-
a little bit.
These would obviously make a wonderful Mother's
pretty
Day.
fun.
Mother's Day. I have a dear friend, my friend Sue, who loves chocolate-covered strawberries. So a lot of times on her birthday, we bring her a little batch. So it's a very thoughtful gift that doesn't take very much time at all.
I'm all about Mother's Day, obviously, because I've got
Obviously.
my kids, but also teacher appreciation.
Absolutely.
Like, make you some strawberries and run them up to the school. Drop them off for
Absolutely.
your teacher.
As soon as school starts
Oh,
again.
I didn't know that one is pretty, but this is so fun. Those
So
are
what
gorgeous.
you are going to do with these though now is you will go and put them in the refrigerator, and so the chocolate solidifies.
I know
The
it's gonna
butter
fun.
in the chocolate will help it almost make like that
Garden
Dairy Queen shell.
Okay.
Yes.
So
The
that's
shell.
okay.
So
So you
we
do
love
not need to buy the chocolate,
Show up.
the dipping chocolate.
your mother's.
And it has stuff in it.
it's got a lot of stuff
Yeah.
in it, and it's very high in sugar.
Yeah.
This is what I like because you're just having a little bit with that. You can use a good quality chocolate. You can use your favorite chocolate, you know.
Yeah, I can't wait to try this.
And you just have to add a little bit of butter. I did have a question that someone asked, hey, can I use coconut oil instead of butter? You don't get that hardened shell. You do when it's in the fridge, but the minute you serve them, it softens immediately. The coconut oil, it makes a very
So you want
soft.
a little butter.
Yeah, I always go with the
So I really am. I'm going back to the cakes, and I can't wait to try the pumpkin seed.
Yeah.
So there's lots of benefits in pumpkin seed.
There are.
Like I'm Googling last night so I could look really smart. So,
Zinc,
right?
there was zinc.
And would you
right?
say there's vitamin K in pumpkin seed?
They're very well made. Magnesium's number one
Zinc
though.
was, yes, zinc,
Zinc,
magnesium.
magnesium. Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of buying in that you could
Oh, it's
almost
really
maybe
good.
serve them for breakfast.
Yeah, see that?
Maybe
Win.
Okay, so
All right.
if say
Audrey,
you wouldn't,
Eric, you're in.
and I was your daughter, and I
Right.
was asking for one, I would say, well, why?
Why not?
Not.
I know, because it's cacao.
But there's no sugar in the cacao. It's only
So,
maple syrup.
If
and
I
you
were to
probably
read
put
the
that
back
in
of the package on this, what would it say on sugars?
Well, look at our maple syrup. That's
Oh.
the only sugar that's
So,
in
here's-
here.
here's-
Mine don't,
This is why you get paid the big bucks.
mine don't have the chocolate chips in them. This cake doesn't
Okay.
have chocolate chips in it.
So a little chocolate, but I don't mind. I mean, Eric Sipko puts little chocolate chips in his smoothies, so
Yeah, sure.
I'm okay. I'm cool.
Of course.
Such a
But
cool
listen,
mom.
so if you look at this and you'll see a quarter of a cup, don't freak out. It's
I
really
already
high.
freaked. I was like,
It's
oh,
really high in
okay.
sugar, so that's going to be 48 grams of sugar. However, listen, you are getting how many cupcakes? You guys, you just
Oh, I
got
know.
24,
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
A traditional cupcake that you get at HEB, check that out sometime. That's a lot of sugar. You know,
Yeah.
there's 28 grams of sugar in a glass of orange juice.
And I'm a big sugar eater, but if it's
Sugar
got some,
reader or eater?
no, right? Okay.
Okay, I just want to enunciate.
But I want if it's got some good protein in it.
Mhm.
I'm a little bit more grace.
lenient?
Yeah,
Okay.
then I'm like, all right, I don't mind you having a little bit of sugar. I'm blown away with the amount of protein that's in these. Yeah.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
great.
and that's easy. If you want to figure that stuff out, I'm not a calorie counter or a calorie counter son, but I don't count. I feel like if you're eating nutrient dense food, now sidebar, there are emotional eaters out there. I mean,
Right.
I've had my own times, you know, where chocolate makes everything better.
Yeah,
However,
always.
if you really are eating nutrient dense food, I honestly couldn't sit and eat all of those strawberries. When you're eating a nutrient dense food item, it should fill you up.
Right.
You know, we need to be listening to our bodies more, not like we eat with our eyes first, and as good as that looks, you can calorically fill your body up, or you could stuff your body full. You know, there's different
Right.
ways of getting full.
Yeah.
I remember when I switched to organic meat, I remember thinking, oh, gosh, I'm eating so much less. You know, say blah, blah,
No way. Okay, I just watched her do this.
blah. So we're just we'll take those out at this time, and
So,
do we have
yeah,
an oven mitt somewhere?
Yep, I put them away.
Yeah, bottom. Oh, sorry.
Shoot, no, it's away in the wrong spot.
So what we're going to do, I'm going to move these out of the way. Put those up there.
Okay.
And I am going to just demonstrate really quick for Carter, and then you guys can continue on doing this.
Okay.
While we put the cakes in the oven.
You want me to put the cake in right now?
We have to change the temperature. The cakes cook at 350. I really need to just. Ooh, sorry. Okay, so Carter, what I'm going to show you here is I'm taking a towel, and I'm going to take one of these, and excuse me for 1 second. So I'm kind of cradling this, and you can see where there's like little spots. So I'm going to stick a fork there. I can maybe go over here. I wiggle it. If you just pierce it, you'll break it. So you wiggle your fork back and forth, and that is if you put your hand over that, you'll
see it. Yeah.
well the steam escapes there.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I do now is, and you guys can, I'll pass you this fork,
Perfect.
and we do the same thing. You might need a towel.
Okay, I waited too.
But no, oh, sorry. We flip it over. We're gonna flip it over, and then I'm gonna just demo Isabella. Actually, there's a serrated knife right here.
I mean, so delicate.
They are, and what I'm gonna do, because they're so warm, after all of them are pierced, I will go back and I take a serrated knife and I will cut through. Okay, this, and it's actually not that hot anymore. But what what did it go all the way through? Do you see all that steam that came up? I don't know if the camera was capturing that or not. You go all the way through, okay? And look at that beautiful puff pastry inside.
Wow.
See that, Meredith?
And it smells so good. Oh my goodness.
So then what I do is I will leave them open face like this, and you have to be careful because they're monogamous. You don't want them to lose their mate. So you have to keep them together like this, and you may need a larger cutting board because it's going to cover double the space, but you let them kind of air out. I wanted to show you guys exactly, let me do, you know what, you can always pause and rewind, so I don't need to do another one to show you. But first you're going to pierce the bottoms, and then you're going to use a serrated knife to cut them through. And I'm going to tell you a few different ways. Maybe you're going to have this big dinner party and you want to serve this for dessert, but you don't have time to spend an hour on a dessert the day you're having dinner. I can rest assure you that you can take these and you can put them in the freezer. You can actually fill them, put them in the freezer. However, I would suggest that before you even serve dinner to take them out, and then even you can maybe take them out in the morning, because you don't want that, when you bite into them, you don't want the cream to be frozen. Yeah. So, okay, so with, sorry, are you okay? The cake? We're waiting on the temperature. Carter's very concerned that we're not gonna have cake, but we are, I promise. So if this is 350, Tara, you can put those cakes in. Thank you, thank you. All right, so the other way to store these, after you have all this beautiful pastry, the best way to do this is to use a cardboard box. I wouldn't use your son's old sneaker box, but if you have an old cardboard box, you want to do that. You guys okay?
Yeah. We're just talking about placement of the cake.
Okay, can you be piercing these?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
All of these have been pierced.
And then
now I go ahead and
Okay, is that serrated?
It is. That one's. I can get you a larger serrated.
And so now, if I was at home, I would hit pause and rewind. So did you just cut?
Yep. I held it like this, and I went
Just right around.
And then you open them, and if you need more room, you can go onto the counter here. The last thing we are going to do is we are going to whip the cream. So we have two different ways to whip cream. We're giving you a lot of options today. Usually we go about an hour and a half. I'm anticipating that we'll probably wrapping this up in about 10 to 15. But we're going to go ahead and whip the cream. So we have a whipping cream. I always suggest organic dairy. It's one of my pet peeves is non-organic dairy, highly inflammatory. I'm not a huge fan of pasteurized dairy, but we're not eating chocolate eclairs every day. At least I hope you're not. Second thing is Tara has brought knowledge and wisdom with her today. I have a lot of people saying, I don't eat dairy. What can I do instead for that chocolate eclair? I can't really help you with the butter part because I don't know how else to make it without the butter. But as for the filling part, we are going to do a whipped coconut cream. Is that right?
Correct.
So I'm going to just clarify this. On the grocery list that I sent out to you guys, I told you that it's in the fridge. I told you that you could use coconut milk. So unless you've done this before and you already had your coconut cream or milk in your fridge, it should be refrigerated for
24 hours.
24 hours, at least overnight, is what one of the websites said. However, we're going to whip two different creams, and that way you can have your choice. Actually, it's so funny that the ingredients to that is pretty much the same as to our whipping cream. So you'll take it from here. I'm going to get your hand mixer is plugged in here, okay? And you also need maple syrup, correct?
Correct.
And what else?
I need vanilla.
Okay, right here.
So,
both in my baking basket, as small as it may be, it has everything we need.
So this has been in the refrigerator.
Okay, do you need a can opener?
I do.
Okay, let me see if I have one here. We open our own can. Right, see? Let me try and I will do the pleasure because everyone has a different can opener, and so we really covered a lot of ground, y'all, today. 3 different desserts, and maybe some of you guys are, Tara, do you want to even mess with this?
So
I just opened it.
Yes,
so.
that'd be great. We're going to use, per can, it's a tablespoon of maple syrup and a half a teaspoon of vanilla.
And you're doing double? You can do a double
I'm going
batch?
to double it.
I'm going to open those for you.
Let me get and I need a spoon. Okay, so this is cream. Oh my goodness. believe that we can have coconut cream, not dairy. This is for my dairy. Sometimes bothers my stomach, so coconut cream is.
And I've had coconut cream before, and it's actually really good. I prefer it over dairy. So.
Okay, now in the bottom of this can is going to be some liquid. Okay, this is the coconut milk. It's settled. We're not going to get rid of that. We're going to save it.
So we're just using the cream?
We're just going to use the cream, but we are not going to discard the milk because, now this is my friend Cammie taught me this trick. She puts this coconut milk in her smoothies.
Yeah, it would be delicious.
And, you know, coconut water, coconut milk is very hydrating.
Oh gosh, yeah. Dr. Keys calls it nature's IV.
Yep.
There you go.
Oh.
Anybody after a race, whatever, it has tons of electrolytes in it
Okay,
as
so
well.
are you seeing this? Are you seeing what's in the bottom of this can?
I heard how lovely that one was.
See that? We're going to save that and put it in our smoothies tomorrow morning.
They're beautiful.
Or this afternoon.
They're all with their mate.
Okay.
I'm not gonna. That's so cute. This was the only one I come up with.
So while Tara is getting herself together here with whipping, we're gonna whip that up first. I would like to show you guys, because I have the chocolate right here, there's this cut in half. Obviously the cream is going to go in, and what I usually do to fill these is I would use a tablespoon and I would go this way, and then I take the other and go that way, so there's a little peak, and then when you put this on top, it kind of gives it that height that we need. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you how, mind your business, I'm going to show you how I just take a spatula here and we just drizzle that chocolate on top.
Oh, yum.
Yeah. So you, and
I would
then
eat that
of
without
course,
filling.
same, right. So
good.
what I wanted to tell you guys is I have done this before, run out of whipped cream. We make too many shells. I run out of the whipped cream and I will put these back, after they've cooled, put them back together just like this and freeze in a Ziploc bag. And after you have hardened this, so same thing, I put this whole thing in the fridge first, then I would put those in a Ziploc bag.
That looks
It's
gorgeous.
beautiful. I mean, it doesn't even have filling in it, but we want this to crust over and be hard, right?
Okay, but I interrupted you. You're putting that in a Ziploc bag. It's in the freezer.
I'll put a Ziploc bag in. This is my dad's trick, right? You put a straw in the Ziploc bag and suck all the air out. Sometimes you get a little flavor of chocolate,
Right.
but they're absolutely sealed, and you could fit 9 in one Ziploc in the quart bags, and then you have them, and all you have to do when people come over for dessert is whip the cream, fill them, and put them on the table.
Oh my goodness.
So, and
That's gonna make
it's
my
true though
husband
that
so happy.
you can freeze them already
With the
filled.
cream.
You can I would do it for your own family first because you want to know your timing on biting into frozen cream.
Okay.
I've failed epically at that before. So, anyways,
Michelle, I'm needing
yes.
a tablespoon and a teaspoon.
oh, right here.
Oh,
That's a
we-
teaspoon.
What?
That's a teaspoon.
Are you kidding?
Nope. Here's the
They actually
tablespoon.
are. They've been measured out.
Here's a tablespoon. Uh huh.
I need
Label.
all these spoons.
Yeah.
Okay, 2.
That's what they're called, right?
Yes, but I don't ever trust that.
It's okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
It's not
so,
gonna mess anything.
so we're gonna add 2 tablespoons.
Okay.
1 and 2.
Did
Okay.
you guys put a timer on
And
this?
then we're gonna put 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Oh my goodness, we are gonna be loving this. All right. I'm ready to use a hand mixer.
Have you had this before?
I have.
So does it taste like coconut?
Tastes like yummy. I had it on. So my friend Cammie, she serves this as dessert. She calls it berries on a cloud.
Oh.
So she whips this up, and it's just like whipping cream, and then we put berries on top and eat it with a spoon. It's so delicious.
Beautiful. Okay. So can we move you over here to whip?
Absolutely.
This is our outlet. Our outlets over here.
Baby.
So all right, we're gonna.
I need a little spatula.
Here, I'll get you one.
Whip, whoop. There's so many fun ways to say that. I'm gonna whip it.
I like a.
Whip it. Whip it good.
Here we go.
That's some
Whip
good
it.
dishes for you later. Oh yeah. Are you getting
So I
that?
think here's another thing for Sam Faysal. He was shocked they didn't have a kitchen. What was it called? No, but this I don't have this either. But we didn't food processor.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
No,
Did you always use
I
that?
have a Vitamix, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna say something. I have done this before with coconut milk. I'm telling you right now, I already like the coconut cream better. I've only done it with coconut milk. And you would think it would be really heavy, but it actually is starting to look really light and fluffy.
Do you want us to make the regular whipped cream as well?
Yes, go ahead. Let's go ahead and do that, and we're gonna wrap things up for our fabulous
What
viewers.
ingredients do you need?
There's whipping cream in the fridge,
And then vanilla maple syrup, which is already over here.
and for everybody who's watching, I really thank you so much for tuning in. We obviously are not going to have enough time to see the cake come out of the oven. Carter
To
is
see
going
the
to.
winner.
Yeah, that's right. You know what?
To really
I
taste
think we're gonna
it.
have to
But
do
we
a-
won.
Can
It's
we
okay.
do
We
a
won.
follow-up like
Video.
post that will just say, so the winner is,
so.
ah,
No,
I
I
mean,
know you
it's
guys
already
have
been
been
determined,
but
How about
we,
this
yeah,
one? Why
right.
don't you
We
call
are
your
even working
family?
on our speech.
Why don't you invite them for dinner tonight? Okay, call your family,
Yeah.
invite them for dinner, and we'll do a small clip.
Yes.
Y'all, why don't you stay for dinner tonight?
Yes.
I have no idea what we're having, but we'll figure it out.
It's a Keith's
and then we'll
kitchen. We'll make
taste,
something.
and our camera crew's gonna be here, and we'll post a little
I mean,
post show.
we could have cake for
segment.
dinner
I-
because there's
I'll be-
protein in
No,
there.
no, I'm not gonna do that.
Cake for dinner.
Oh, not for dinner. See,
No,
All right.
but for
there's rules
breakfast.
in place for that.
Yeah, apparently.
Apparently, there's
Anything
rules.
that goes with
not
parameters.
Okay,
Okay,
guys,
these are we
so
measuring?
let's recap here.
Okay, this
We
is-
have made the chocolate eclairs.
Mhm.
Okay. We have actually topped them with chocolate. Hopefully there's no more questions from the viewers. I hope that they have been able to follow along. While Tara is whipping her coconut.
Looking pretty good. What do you think?
While she's whooping it.
It's beautiful.
Whooping.
She has given that cream.
Giving it a whoop.
Do you know how to text? No.
Okay,
You put
how
your
much
finger
are
in
these?
and pull it
Have
out.
you done this before? You know what
Yes.
Like just like
This
it's
is why
I do
you're
not
on my
measure.
chair. Oh, that's okay, that's why I'm here.
That's why you're here.
That's delicious.
Is it good?
Delicioso.
I want to try.
Are we gonna fill one?
Yeah, I think that's a great yes. Well, I've got one ready to fill.
Okay, let's do it.
Beautiful. Excuse me, sweetheart. I'm so sorry. Let me I'm gonna move over here.
Really good.
I'm gonna get right out of your way,
So at
sweetheart.
our house, we do this. We
Oh.
We do this, stop sticking your finger in my balls.
Oh my goodness. No, that's
That's
really good.
delicious.
My dad always
free.
honestly
It's not
You
even
can eat this
over.
whole bowl.
It's not over.
I will
coconut.
eat
I
that.
thought it was gonna be really
I don't
coconutty.
know about that. Right over here. Okay, I'm gonna move this over, Tara. I'm gonna actually show everyone how to fill it. And oh my goodness, no, that is my
Okay.
dad.
Okay, they're watching.
His favorite pie is coconut cream pie.
This, you so could do that.
So he loves coconut and he loves chocolate eclairs. I think he's gonna say to me, no, I like the whipped cream better because that's what he's used to.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So I'm gonna set this one aside.
I'm your sous chef.
Like I said, I'm gonna take
Does Kevin like coconut?
yeah, we're all
Probably.
We're all coconuts.
we're all
Y'all are all
We're
nuts.
all
You're
nuts.
all nuts.
We're all nuts. So okay,
here's
so
your
do
pea.
you see how the sides they don't have very much, right?
Right.
Put a little bit,
Of
put a little
love.
bit there, but you see how that has like a little. You've been skiing with me, Meredith.
Yeah.
That's about
This
agreed.
is where you ski, and this is where Meredith
No. I'm over here.
No, she's
and
over
then you would cap that and look at how beautiful.
Oh.
So I'm gonna turn it this way so they can see.
It's like a coconut cream cookie.
It's so should I just cut it and let you guys eat
No,
it?
I think you should like just bite
I don't
into
like
it
that.
and have the
Oh my
cream
gosh.
everywhere.
Oh,
So,
I'll do it.
and, okay, go ahead.
Can I ask?
Bite it. Yes.
Yes.
Tell me what you
I
think.
wanna know what you
Mama
think.
said yes.
The chocolate's gonna be messy because it's not hard, right? We usually put them in the fridge.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're watching your reaction. We're watching.
Get a
We're watching
close up.
you get this
Close
whole-
up.
You guys like
Well,
chocolate?
no, I think it's
Should
like
we be like at the
sugar.
wedding and just
Yes,
no.
that's what
There we go. Take a bite and tell us what you think.
Oh my goodness. We should have
That is
slowed
really
it down.
good.
It looks good.
No one wants to see me bite into anything.
I do.
Okay.
Now.
So do you like it? Do you like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That looks
So-
amazing. I can't wait.
Guys at home, if you have any questions, now's the time to. We can always take your questions anytime. You know where. You know where to find us: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I'm available. Okay, so I would love to take your questions, help you through desserts with a purpose. So we thank you so much for
Thank
being here.
you. Thank you
Tara,
for
thank
having me.
you for
Yes.
another option. Meredith, game on. No, she's so good.
I'm just getting prepared for it. I mean, we're just.
Oh my
I got
goodness.
to declare. I already won.
You're the winner.
So we will, as far as I know, I think we'll see you next week. Cooking during COVID. Have no idea what we're making,
That's the fun of this.
right?
I know.
Well, happy to take your suggestions and mwah, have a great week. Bye.
I don't know who I'm supposed to be
Wow.
waving.
I have like
Wait.
chocolate all
Thank
over
you for
my
that.
face. probably.
Carter,
Maybe we
thank
need
you
to-
for that suggestion. Thank you.